What's up, everybody? Welcome to State of the Nation, the Athletics Raiders podcast. Jimmy Durkin here in Alameda with Vic Tafur. And today we're joined by a guest, a man that Jon Gruden referred to this week as possibly the MVP of the team, Raiders running back Jalen Richard. How you doing, Jalen?
No, I'm good. Y'all doing all right?
Yeah, doing good, man. What's your response to that? MVP of the team. Must be nice to hear that.
Yeah, it's cool. Just wish we had more wins.
Right.
So, but I'm going to just keep playing, having fun. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm really worried about is just continuously having fun, making an impact, and helping this team win games.
You saw that on Sunday where, for the first time, really, we got to see a full three-headed attack. You know, you, Doug Martin, DeAndre Washington finally getting in there a little bit more. All of you guys with double-digit carries, and you guys all did well, and it led to a win. What was that like to see everybody kind of be able to get their hands on the ball?
I mean, that's fun. We have an amazing room. Obviously we lost Marshawn, but we knew when we lost him, we still had everything in the room, and everybody was capable to be out there and make an impact. So it was real cool to see the coaching staff, bring that element into the game this past weekend and give everybody the rock, man, and see, it's fun. It's fun on the sideline, watching Doug do his thing, watching DeAndre do his thing, and then I got to go out there and be like, oh, okay, y'all did y'all thing. I got to go do mine. So it's a lot of push and competition within the room, but good competition.
You mentioned that room. You also have Chris Warren stashed on IR for next year. So do you guys look at each guy's number one guy? Like, you think you have 5 number one guys in that running back room?
I think we do. That's how confident I feel like in all those guys. I feel like anybody could go to any team and would be able to demand some touches, any team in the league. So it's exciting to have a room like that. And I think the offensive staff loves having a room like that too. So many versatile guys that can do different things in the room, and you just want to give everybody their shine, their chance to go out there and do what they do best. And they've been doing a good job of putting each one individually into their strengths of what they're good at. So obviously with me, getting space, catching the ball, Dre on some ISOs downhill. He's really good at downhill, and Doug just giving it to Doug because Doug's just gonna run. You know what I mean? Like high energy guy. So it's been fun. I love the room we in.
I know I talked to your dad last year, and the guy that he kind of mentioned that you always reminded him of was Marshall Faulk. Was that a guy that for you growing up you studied a lot of him?
Yeah, that was a big guy. So I can say I remember vividly. I remember, what was it? I think it was Marshall Faulk was on the cover of the Madden 2001 or 2000. It was one of those. I used to play that game like 24/7. I used to just get Marshall Faulk. I used to go to practice mode, put him back at the kickoff return. Him and I think they had Rocket Ishmael back then too, I think. So I used to put them in the back, and I'll just play practice mode, kickoff return with him all the time. But Marshall Faulk, being a Louisiana guy, I loved how he used to catch the ball and just do everything, and that really is one of the guys that early on that I took a liking to. That I kind of realized I had a similar skill set to. So I kind of Marshall Faulk was one of those guys I watched.
I know you watched a lot of those running backs over the years. I know Shady McCoy is one of your guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shady.
This year with your role kind of changing, be more the receiving type role, do you watch more receiving type running backs? Do you watch different kind of guys?
Somewhat. I know at the beginning of the year, Coach sent me out a clip of Theo Riddick, a lot of his, out of the backfield things, and Darren Sproles. And they gave me a couple of those clips. So I watched a lot on those guys. I took a few things. Obviously, Darren Sproles been doing it for a long time, and Theo right behind him been doing it for a while and been very productive and efficient at it. So I definitely watched them coming into the season, and I think the things that I've taken from them, and then the things that I've grown on myself in my game, has been able to make the game slow down for me and to make me productive this year.
Give me an example of what kind of things you took from those guys. What did you see?
Well, with Theo was his patience. Theo was real patient coming out. I like to use my speed a lot sometimes, and sometimes I think in the San Fran game, I actually kind of slipped a little bit, just being more under control, more patient, and knowing that I'm quick enough just to beat him. I took that from Theo, and then from Darren Sproles, I just took like that, just seeing him just want it after the catch, like his want to after the catch to really like create a big play or do something like that. I just wanted to keep that. I already had that in me, but when I seen how he really is, like once he gets it, he trying to take it to you. I kind of got that from Darren Sproles. I'm like, all right, every time I get it in this space or whatever, I gotta make somebody miss and get this first down and move the chains.
You know, another thing your dad mentioned to me back then was that I think you missed your senior year of high school, right, with a torn ACL?
Yeah, I tore my ACL. I missed my whole senior year of high school,
And what he was saying is that the doctors told him that when they went in there, what it looked like is that the ACL had already maybe been partially torn before, and just the high pain tolerance you had allowed you to play through it. Is that something? That toughness that you bring? Is that something you're proud of?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not the biggest guy.
Yeah.
But, I just got like that grittiness, that dogness in me. Like, I'm not going to be pushed over. I ain't going to have nobody talk to me crazy. And first of all, I don't like losing. So if we got to line up, I got to really attack you. But, yeah, that was one of those tough parts of my life where I had to go through that. Obviously, I just saw my dad. My dad had 2 major hip surgeries when he was in 7th grade and then 9th grade because he was growing too fast. So he's had artificial joints since then. And I just remember him telling me, like, back in the day when they had to realign your hip, they couldn't put you under or something like that. And he always showed me that scar going across his thigh where he said they gave him a splint to bite down on, and then they just drilled across his femur to realign the hip. So I just take that all the time. He was like, "You don't know pain, boy." That's what he used to tell me all the time. Like, I say I'm hurting about something, he's like, "You don't know pain." And then he'll always remind me about that scar. So I just keep that tight and deal with me. And, I've been blessed to just be able to fight through a lot of stuff.
You mentioned how much you hate losing. I mean, how tough has it been this season and to be positive? And how big was that win last week?
It's always tough. But, I mean, a lot of people don't know my story entirely. And, I was talking with Coach about it. And in high school, I never went to the playoffs. I think the most I won in a high school season was 3 games. I got the Southern Miss. I didn't win a game that I played in until my junior year. So as far as just being able just to play through anything and forget all the elements and take my mind away from the score, the time on the clock, the score on the clock, and just play ball and just enjoy what I'm doing, I've been doing that for a while. So this is all new and calm to me. And I know some people be like, well, dang, like, I know it's hard to just kind of like keep fighting through this. But, that's just been my whole life. I just love the game of football, and that's what I'm just going to keep doing. I'm just going to keep going out there and playing and having fun with these guys.
I keep seeing this hashtag Spook on Twitter, social media. What is Spook? That's your nickname?
Yeah, that's my nickname. So I got that my freshman year. In college, they used to call me Spook because, I was fast. But then when I would run the ball, and a lot of my pictures, a lot of people probably see it, but my eyes get real big, in the ball. So, like, that's why I got the nickname Spook, and it stuck. So everybody called me Spook since then.
You got that, and there's also kind of Rocket too, right?
Yeah, there's Rocket and Spook.
What do you like better?
I know the fans call me like Rocket or whatever like that. Either one's fine with me. But Spook is like, if you know me, you call me Spook. Like, if you know me, you call me Spook. But a lot of the fans hate Rocket too, though.
The eyes always get big, even since you were a kid. Is that something?
Yeah, that's always been that way. My daughter got them. My newborn, she got them. She be eyes big, googly, like, "Daddy, what you doing?" I was like, "Dang, they ain't lying. I am Spook." Like,
what's that been like? What's fatherhood done for you?
It's a game changer, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I could tell you first off the bat that you think you know responsibility.
Yep.
You think you do until you have a kid. They relying on you, hand and foot right now. Put me to sleep, feed me. I don't like it the way you rock it. Rock me this way. Man, it's just a blessing. I watched the whole thing. I just, like I've been saying, I just got a whole newfound respect for women, man. That's some real. Ish.
That's pain. You don't know pain. That's pain.
Some real ish.
Yeah, your dad's not telling her that she doesn't know what pain's like.
Yeah. He's not telling her that. Women go through it, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
So you got the Thanksgiving. You got a favorite dish of Thanksgiving? What's your go-to?
Man, you know what became one of my? I love my grandmother used to make the best potato salad.
Okay.
My favorite thing, my dad makes some good cornbread dressing. Like, I'm talking about all the way with, like, the gizzards in it and everything.
That sounds pretty good.
Like some cornbread dressing, some cranberry sauce.
There you go. How about you, Vic?
I'm a yams guy with the marshmallows on top. And
you like the casserole?
Nuts.
Like
that's my kind of thing.
Yeah, I like mashed potatoes. Are hard to go wrong.
Dirty rice, you can't go dirty rice and beans. I'll just mix them together. I'll put the beans on top of the dirty rice.
I'm getting hungry now.
The most boring part is the turkey. The turkey itself is like that's for me. That's like
it's all right.
It's all right. Yeah,
takes so much work.
Yeah, it's not really. It's all right.
Yeah, the turkey.
You gotta have it.
Yeah,
gotta have the turkey. Some people do ham. I gave up pork a few years ago, but I remember the hams used to be good back when I was growing up. They used to put like the pineapple slices on top of.
Why'd you give up pork?
Just unclean. I gave up a lot of things. Gave up pork, bottom feeders, all that.
Wow.
Yeah, been off of it for about 5-6 years now.
You feel better?
Feel way better.
All right.
All right.
I'll make a note. I do like bacon. Bacon's good though in the morning.
Bacon good, but that turkey bacon fire too.
Turkey bacon,
there you go.
Crispy, extra crispy.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, I think we are all sufficiently hungry, but we really appreciate you joining us, Jalen.
No, all good. I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Always good to talk to Jalen. He's, in a season like this, guys like him, guys like Frosty Rucker, those are important to have around. And Jalen's a nice guy for us to talk to, and I'm sure for the guys to talk to. Just a guy that always kind of brings that positive energy.
Yeah, I also get the impression, I think both Jon Gruden and Greg Olson kind of knew he was good, but I think they've both been surprised by just how good he is. Now, he can do so many things, not only catch the ball in the backfield, but he's definitely a good running back also. He's a guy who can get some tough yards. So I think he's definitely a piece of the puzzle going forward.
I know he talked about all those years where he didn't play on winning teams. I remember I talked to him about this a couple of times where he mentioned he wasn't on the field for a win until his junior year, and that year was only one. He went 3 years of college where he was a part of one victory, and then his senior year they finally went 9-4. But then an injury kept him out of the bowl game, so he didn't get to play in the bowl game. But
because the quarterback, Nick Mullins.
Yeah, Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins came and saved the day.
Yeah, Nick Mullins came and saved the day. But one win in 3 years you were part of. I think they won 2 games his sophomore year, but he missed him with injury. And yeah, it's pretty nuts. But I remember talking to him like his going into the playoff game. Like, man, you have all these. You were never really been a part of a winning program like this, except for little bit your senior year, and that was so he for him he came into this league and all of a sudden, man, I'm winning. This is great. So not that you want to be a guy that I know what it's like to lose, but this isn't new to him, and so he's a guy that can help bring the right attitude
kind of back to his reality in a way.
Yeah.
Sad way.
All right. Well, hey, we got a win to talk about. We didn't do a podcast on Sunday after the game. I'm sorry about that. I forgot the podcast.
It wasn't me. People thought it was me. It wasn't me. I'm innocent.
Yeah, Vic is innocent. If you'd seen that tweet that I sent out and you look at the first reply to it, I think it's my wife, just saying, "Oh yeah, that sounds like Jimmy." She knows I forget stuff a lot.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah, she's so sweet. Hey. It could be worse. You could be Aaron Rodgers and have your brother.
That was savage.
Just savage.
Guy donates $1 million, and the guy's like, "Yeah, but you're a bad son."
Yeah, you didn't call your Bob.
Oh, that's rough. Anyway, but that was a nice win. I mean, I'm still kind of in shock, but they shouldn't have won. I mean, the Cardinals had so many chances to win that game. The Cardinals had to make like 4 or 5 mistakes, and just.
But the Raiders punted twice inside the final 4 minutes, right, and still won.
It's the first time ever, yeah. Like our stat guy Josh DeBose says. So just it's just a crazy game. I think you look at they dropped that pick. The one guy had the pick, Burns, linebacker, right in his hands. And some really weird defensive coverages on the last drive. I mean, you got to credit Carr for making the plays, but like blitzing that one guy and having Seth wide open doesn't make much sense. And even the coverage on the Aitman catch, the cornerback kind of quitting the play, just some really odd things. But the Raiders capitalized. I think Marshall Aitman made a nice big catch in his debut, which shows it could be a piece here. And then Daniel Carlson, kind of clutch. And a nice field goal was 3 for 3, and he might have a chance to be the guy going forward.
You're kind of talking a little bit about that Aitman play because I got a chance to talk to him after the game, and he really kind of got into detail on that. And he said that before that play, before that series, they said, okay, they're in the Tampa 2, the cover 2 coverage. So in that situation, they know that okay, the cornerback is going to be relying on that deep safety, and so the big key there was on that play. Aitman said, I'm going to really stay tight to the sideline, and I'm going to try to keep that safety out of position and not let him get over. And he was able to get by the cornerback, Bené Benwikri, and got enough separation. The safety couldn't get over, and boom, 32-yard touchdown. So that was a play they had worked on. They had it designed for that specific coverage, and they kind of told Aitman going in that series, we're going to go to this play. Carr talked to him about it, said, I'm going to come to you, and it delivered. So that was nice to see. I mean, as I wrote about on Sunday after the game, maybe this is the piece. I know you were kind of half joking, and I used it in my story. You were half joking going into the game about how he's their last hope, and and there was a little bit of exaggeration, of course.
Yeah,
but,
I was being a smart ass.
But
shock.
But I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys. I mean, now they brought in Keon Hatcher's coming back, but there weren't a whole lot of other guys that they could say, let's see what else they can do. So for them to get production out of Marcell Aitman in his debut is big.
Yeah, I think on that play, I mean, even in training camp, he would get open deep. I think he came in, the book on him was like a big guy, basketball player, can push you up in the end zone, but not really a guy who can get open deep and don't have the speed. But in camp, he got open deep. He made plays down the field. Edgar Bennett, the receiving coach, who Gruden gave some props to after the game, saying Edgar Bennett was in his corner on draft day, really banging the table for the guy. I want this guy. Edgar said back at camp that this guy gets open. This guy, you may not see it, but doesn't matter how fast you run. If you know how to get open, you get open. I think in that play he got open, and we'll see what he does. I mean, their injuries now are such that he's going to have a big role the rest of the way. So it's a great chance for him to kind of establish himself as a guy who can be a top 3 receiver on his team next year.
You know, I enjoyed digging into some of those next-gen stats, and that was one that I dug into after the game. And it's one game. It's a very small sample size, but his average top speed for Sunday was 15.1 miles per hour. Faster than Amari Cooper, faster than Martavis Bryant have averaged this year. It puts him right on par with A.J. Green, who's almost exactly the same size as him. So one game, we'll see kind of how those numbers average out over time. But, you know, he showed functional speed. He's not a burner, but he showed good functional speed, and he showed definitely enough speed to be effective out there.
Yeah, and on that note of receivers, it's kind of sad for Brandon LaFell. Played well, and Gruden mentioned that just a great team guy, kind of waited his turn and scored a touchdown against Patrick Pearson on Sunday. So that's a top guy to beat. So just a rough way to end the season for him. That Achilles and he's out for the year, and just a guy who I think he's a veteran guy. I'm not sure how many years he has left, but he definitely established himself in the last few weeks as a guy who's going to be probably their main guy the rest of the way.
And Achilles injuries are tough to come back from, especially when you get older. Those are not that's not an easy rehab.
No, it's not good. And just but it's a chance for young guys to step forward. Like Cam Hatcher's back, and we'll see what he can do if he has any kind of a future here. But yeah, so kind of like it's like tryouts. It's kind of like, you know, here's your chance to see what he can do.
So they got a win on Sunday, and we know that some fans were upset about it and whatnot because, they cost them the top pick for now. But
yeah, I ran into some at the bar after the game. We went to dinner, and some fans were like, I don't know, I should be happy or sad. I'm like, I don't know what I should feel about this win. I'm like, dude, it's a win. Relax, enjoy it. I mean, don't worry about the draft. The draft's a long way away. So
I mean, I think the way this season had been going, they needed at least one more. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get a third win at some point, but I think they needed at least one more just to improve the vibe in there.
Are they playing Josh Rosen again? Oh, I mean, that's still Josh Rosen. I was surprised. I didn't give the Raiders much of a chance to win that game because I assumed Josh Rosen was the functional quarterback, which he was not. So, I don't know. I mean, it's a nice win. I'm not going to, like Derek Carr said today, they're going to win a bunch more and win the draft status for good, but I wouldn't totally buy that quite yet.
Yeah, that was Derek Carr's quote today. He's like, asked what do you want over the last 6 weeks? He's like, I want touchdowns. I want wins. I don't care about the draft. I don't want the top pick. And you guys can be mad at me for that. To me, that's him. He's like, he knows that fans are not happy with him this season and all that. And I think he's kind of hit this attitude where, there's nothing I can do to make you happy. I don't really care. I want to win football games, and if that screws up the draft status and makes everybody mad, who cares? And I mean that's the attitude you have to have if you're him.
I mean, you got the young guys in the locker room who are trying to grab on something. That's good. I mean, it's a big game this week for the Ravens. So if the Raiders can go in there and kind of rain on their parade, then that'll be another positive step for Carr and the young guys.
So talking about the Ravens a little bit, it's going to be. You're going to see a different kind of offense out there. Lamar Jackson carried the ball 27 times.
That's crazy.
That's insane. I mean, Derek said he can maybe do that if he played his brother's high school football team, but other than that,
Derek mentioned Cam Newton doesn't win 27 times. I mean, he's a big dude, so it can't be a long term. Can't be a long term plan, but definitely it's a different kind of look, and I think the Raiders have shown that they don't have the top end speed on defense, so it could be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, and I know one thing Gruden pointed out is like, you've got to worry about his arm too. He's not just a guy that can run, and because they only have really one game to go off of, they're going to be spending a lot of time this week studying the Louisville tape to see what he did in college, because that's going to be more relevant than just one game of game tape from the NFL. And so and scout team, they're going to be doing something a little bit different. Johnny Holton and Rico Gaines, a couple speedsters, they're going to be running the quarterback position a little bit just to kind of give them an idea of how to simulate that speed from Jackson.
I'm sure Raider fans didn't know who Rico Gaines was.
I didn't.
Now he's a key guy. He's a key guy in your game planning for this week. So all props to Rico Gaines.
Well, this game is a little bit of a reunion game. It is Michael Crabtree and you kind of look at, I think that was a move in the offseason that the feeling was, okay, they bring in Jordy Nelson, they let go of Michael Crabtree, and okay, is that a swap? Is that an upgrade? You look at it right now, neither guy's had a great season. Jordy Nelson obviously hurt right now, 25 catches for 353 yards, 3 touchdowns, whereas Crabtree slightly better, 42 catches, 479 yards, and 2 touchdowns, but both have been pretty quiet.
Yeah, I think that just shows you, like, the Raiders obviously have problems with the O-line, and they're having trouble getting the passing game going. Joe Flacco's up and down for Baltimore this year, also similar problems. So I just think both guys probably aren't what they were. I mean, I think that's fair to say. They're kind of on the down side of their careers. But I know Crabtree will be pumped up this week. I know he says he's not. Just another game, doesn't care. But I guarantee he's fired up and wants to show these guys they made a mistake.
Let's talk a little bit about the Raiders' defense. There's been some, we've seen some small improvements at least, and it's hard to, we don't want to exaggerate what they did against the Cardinals because the Cardinals are god-awful. Their offensive line is terrible. I mean, if you look at that Mo Hurst sack, he was playing defensive tackle and was unblocked.
What was Mo's quote after the game was like, yeah, that was just bad blocking.
That was a breakdown.
That wasn't me. I mean, that was hilarious. But yeah, they're not a good team. But P.J. Hall, a couple of pressures, a couple of run stops. I think he's he flashed early at the preseason, then kind of disappeared for a while, got hurt, came back, wasn't really that visible. But he's definitely a guy who can get low and get some push. So I think that might be a positive. He can keep building off that. Arden Key has not done much, but had that pressure on that first interception to kind of force the bad. I mean, obviously forced the bad. It was still a bad pass regardless, but he was in the area and kind of, I'm sure, was on Josh Rosen's mind when Rosen threw the ball.
Yeah, and you can go read Ted Nguyen did a good film breakdown of P.J. Hall's game, where you see where he's able to put some pressure on Rosen. There was a couple times maybe but when he got to Rosen, maybe a little bit out of control, maybe got just nudged a little bit, and he couldn't quite deliver the sacks. So that's where you'll have to see him grow, and obviously you'll have to see him do it against a better offensive line, and they're certainly facing a better offensive line this week because, I don't think Mo Hurst is going to go unblocked again on the inside, but I mean, what are you looking for right now? You're looking for progress, and even against a bad team, I mean, that's the thing, is if these guys are still disappearing against a bad offense, then you're really concerned. So they did what they're supposed to do. They played better against a bad team, and you build off that a little bit.
And both those guys, Hurst and Hall, will get some help probably next week. Justin Ellis is back today to practice. I don't think he'll play this weekend, but probably play next weekend. And Jelly's a guy he's a big dude, definitely a run stopper, kind of plug some holes and take some pressure off those guys. Definitely would be the biggest guy on that line. So, I mean, this coaching staff, they re-signed him. They kind of gave him more money than people thought they would, and they had plans for him. So I'm curious to see what they do with him. I think they thought that he'd be better than he was here in past years. Because he watched the film the last few years, like, I'm not sure why you give Jelly a pin. Great guy, but this is a solid player at best. But they have plans for him. I think he's better than he showed here the last few years. So I'm curious to see what they do with Jelly when he gets back.
A couple other guys on defense. We saw a couple interceptions. Obviously, Garron Conley, Carl Joseph, guys that are
still here. Guys
still here.
Could have been traded, but they weren't. Now they're
the first round DBs are coming back after
paying
you.
Dividends. Yeah, I mean, Carl's starting to definitely flash the last few weeks. I think
he's playing better.
Yeah, so that's definitely positive. I think I think the staff may not be sure he's big enough still, but I think they want to give him a shot now. I mean, what else can you do at this point? But, just make plays. Those guys are making plays. Conley didn't play much the last half of the game, but I still have some ways to go as far as winning the coach's staff's trust. But interceptions are definitely in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, and the way those happened, both setting up touchdowns. I mean, they don't win this game.
No.
They don't score those 2 touchdowns without those 2 plays. So to see the defense be able to make some big plays and was crucial because again, it's against Josh Rosen and he's pretty terrible. But you got to take advantage of who you're playing against.
We've bagged on linebackers all year long, but Markel Lee's been pretty good since he moved over to the strong side, made some plays on this weekend. And the last 2 weeks, even Whitehead made a couple plays. Whitehead wasn't a liability, which I think. I guess he has been before this, but he's had a rough year. But he's trying to fight through it. So I think those linebackers can kind of at least turn the corner a little bit. This defense has a chance to stay close in some games the rest of the way.
And I know what Gruden said, when complimenting Markel Lee with that move there, is what it's allowed is Jason Kabinda to get back on the field or to get on the field. And I don't think he's really done much. He hasn't flashed or anything, but. It's a guy that you can let gain a little experience. But I know one thing fans have kind of asked is where's Nicholas Morrow? You're not seeing a whole lot of him. And what do you think there?
I think he's playing a little more than he has been. I think does seem like the coaches kind of have jumped from Derek Johnson to Cabinda as far as their plans for the future. I think Morrow's kind of fighting for a role. Again, I think they think he's undersized. I think that's the problem with Nick. I think he's not the biggest guy. I think for some reason that's a big part of Gunther's plan. So I think he says he likes Morrow, and Gunther said last week he likes him. He's going to find a place for him. But it does seem like Cabinda definitely is, in their minds, is a higher ceiling, I think.
Another big thing from Sunday, the kicker, Daniel Carlson, his first ever game-winning kick, the game-winning field goal. You got a chance to talk to him, and like I said, the first ever game-winning kick of his career, and maybe the Raiders have found something. He was named the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week today.
He was. I mean, he's a big kid, and I think he was a fifth-round draft pick, which tells you a lot. If kickers are drafted, definitely has a good pedigree there, and the guy, there's a lot to be excited about. And got a couple of the Vikings, so he missed a clutch kick. But he said he took some time off and kind of evaluated things, kind of got make some tweaks, and definitely a confident kid. I think he didn't feel nervous at all in that situation. So, yeah, I think the coaching staff likes him. He has a big leg. I think he definitely was a guy they had on their board for the draft. So he's got a shot. I mean, Pinero's on IR, and Pinero's the guy that had first tagged to be the eventual kicker. But the guy comes in and makes kicks the rest of the year, and I think he has a leg up on Pinero. So I think could be a guy.
Yeah, I mean, and he was a fifth-round pick for a reason, obviously. And I mean, Pinero was an undrafted guy, a guy they liked. But I don't know. I mean, the bit of that we saw of him, I mean, he was solid. It wasn't like he was, just kind of blowing you out of the water. So I mean, you would think it'll be a pretty good competition.
The little guy with a big leg. This guy's a big guy with a big leg. So I think maybe, who knows? But this guy's here now, so this guy has a chance to win the job now. Pinero can only watch. So I think it's a great start for him. And also, it's good to see as a kicker, it helps you a lot when you see the players have in the locker room have confidence, because it's a weird thing. Kickers in the locker rooms are weird because you're kind of on an island a little bit. You're not really part of the team, but you are. I mean,
yeah, you're part of the team when you win games. You're not when you lose.
Right. Seabass is different because his personality was huge and he's been there for so long. He was kind of a different kind of status. Most kickers are kind of like, okay, whatever. Then you win games, people come hug you and like, you're the man. So you got to build off that and kind of establish yourself with your teammates as being a guy they can count on. That's huge.
Are you ready to make some picks?
I am.
All right, so the Raiders are an 11-point underdog. I think you looked it up.
11-point dogs.
Well, all right. You go first.
I'm going to get back on the anti-Raiders betting bandwagon. They're not covered 4 games in a row. It was 5 before this last week, and I think they got pretty lucky this past week. So I think the Ravens running game and the Ravens defense was too much to handle. It's a big game for them. It's a must-win game for them. Raiders have not really done historically well traveling back east. I can't imagine with this receiving core. And I'm going to say Ravens 38, Raiders 20.
38-20, a blowout loss to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Yeah, I don't see the Ravens putting up quite that many points. With Lamar Jackson running things, I think they'll be able to really control the ball, control the time on the clock with running Jackson. But I'm going to let the Raiders cover. I'll say 21-13.
Nice.
21-13, a loss, but a cover. So we're no lock of the week this week.
There was a game a few years back where they were getting blown out and Harbaugh did a fake. Well, was it a fake punt or fake field goal? I forgot what it was. But that was kind of uncalled for. But maybe we'll do that again to pump the score up.
Well, if you tell him, you should have told him on the conference call this morning.
I should have, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap up this week's show. Get ready for Thanksgiving on Thursday. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. You've got a win to make you happy going into the holiday week, and that's helpful, right?
Well, some fans aren't happy though. Some fans are mad, so you can't please the fans. The fans are going to be mad no matter what. Like, I mean, last night I came out to this turkey giveaway last night, and people even had negative comments about that. So you just can't. The O-line did a great job. They gave out 125 turkeys, so people, families in need, and even some Raider fans could still be smart ass about that. So you can't. Some people can't please them no matter what. I think one thing, we do have to try to not let just the Twitter comments just get That's that true. Let that infect how we think all Raider fans think. I mean, it's a tool to kind of know how they feel, but it's not the only one. There are fans out there that I think are happy about a win. I hope. Yeah, I think it's split. I think it's half-half. I think some fans are happy. Some fans were invested emotionally in the draft picks and really wanted #1 pick in the draft. But you got 3 picks at least if you quantity over quality, right? I'm sure they'll be rooting against the Cowboys and Bears tomorrow because Cooper and Mack affect those draft picks. So definitely it'll be a Thanksgiving for Raider fans, will be rooting against those two teams and eating some turkey.
Cool. All right, guys. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. Take care.